Hey everybody, it's your friend Sarmate here, and we're back with another episode of Settlement Survival. I hope you're having a fantastic and amazing day today. In this episode, we are really going to get our wood figured out. Now, in the last episode, we did a couple of things to try and lighten the load on our timber demand, but it wasn't quite enough. So I think the next thing we're going to have to do is get into agriculture and really get into this forest farm thing, get a couple of them planted. I have a spot picked out. Before any of that, we're kind of got a few problems going on right now. Before we jump into forest farms, we probably want to deal with a couple of these other things. We do have immigrants nearly here, which will be really great to help alleviate some of these issues, as well as our school with 9 students in it. And these guys are going to be graduating here pretty soon, not all at once, but slowly over time here with more efficient work speeds and just all the better workers. So I'm excited for that to start happening, and it's going to help us move along just a little bit more. Our farms are still doing great. We have over 10,000 food, looking okay. And our water is still a big issue. So over here where we had 2 reservoirs last episode, I added an additional one. And I only have 1 worker in there right now for our 3rd one. But the wells over here are low on workers too. We had a lot of people dying from thirst, unfortunately. Kind of a stupid thing in my opinion. We've had wells for a long time. Why are we still struggling for water so badly? When food is usually the issue. So with these immigrants that are about to arrive, we're going to put most of those people into the water things here to really get some wells working well. I want to have the water figured out before we get into the forest farms really here. Now you can see they're walking up the path right now. We'll grab them in just a second. Now we did have our administrator term expire and Donna took their place. Max thirst plus 15%. I thought that was convenient, so I went ahead and grabbed that person. We're gonna go ahead and accept these people, and I'm seeing a disease on a couple of these right here. That's what these bubbles are. And good, they ran to the clinic, get that cholera taken care of. Now let's go ahead and put a couple of workers into the reservoir here, and then like we just mentioned, let's fill in these wells, a couple more workers, and we'll see how we're doing with water with all those people in there. I hope that we get it working here with as many people that we have in working just water right now. I feel like it's kind of excessive, but it's obviously not even enough. So we got to keep working on that. We had our boiler room in the last episode. I put it in here. We had a worker, and obviously we have coal and domestic fuels in here. And I noticed that the houses still have their own coal and domestic fuels, which is just fine. But I'm kind of wondering what the point of this really is. It does say health bonus, so I like that. So I'm going to leave it here for now. I don't have a worker that I want to put in it at this moment, so we're not going to. So we were kind of teetering back and forth with health tier 1 and 2, and obviously now we're back down into tier 1. Up over in this space, I am planning on putting those forest farms. So what we're going to do while we're kind of getting prepared, I want to gather all of this up, clear that space out. And I've just been gathering everything. Like, as we've been continuing to go along here, every episode, I've been gathering and gathering and gathering. We have this really dense patch right here with our forester huts and our apiary to help the apiary's efficiency here. We only have the 1 worker in there for now, but we're doing pretty good on beeswax. So once we get the soap workshop, we'll be able to have lots of soap, and then that's going to boost our health for sure. That'll be nice once we can get to it. I was really hoping to have a good amount of reeds so that we could start making baskets to help with the efficiency with going back and forth. Because we have the water coming in over here, and we have the clay and the sand and reed and fish, all sorts of things over here. That's a long way to bring things, and it's going to take time. But that's why we have 2 storage yards in between and a warehouse. So trying to help the efficiency with those things. But as we go along here, get into logistics, things like our transfer station, supply terminal, and delivery stations are going to help with that, as well as delivery baskets, packet expansion, backpacks, and then later handcart and animal power. All that stuff is going to help. And we'll probably build another little neighborhood up in this space eventually, kind of tie it all in together. But for now, it's a long walk back and forth. Kind of an oversight when I started the town, but it's okay. We're figuring it out. Okay, so now we almost have our 3rd point. So let's go ahead and get to agriculture. We'll grab our grove, and we're going to grab our nursery. So the grove, we don't really have anything that we can utilize with the grove right now. We don't have any seeds that are applicable to the grove, so we can't do anything with it. So we will kind of just ignore it for now. But the nursery, on the other hand, does have some things that we can grow in it. What I'm thinking of is maybe we want to put our nurseries kind of in line up over here think that'll be all right. Let's go ahead and do like this. Let's start with 2. Well, I want to go like all the way across right here. I think it'll be pretty good spot for him. And we'll get our dirt road in. So you can't build things next to this wall here, the map, but you can build roads. So that's why I did it like this. Put the road in the back, and then we have our nurseries. We did get our last tech point for the horse farm, so we're going to go ahead and grab that. And then we'll go to the agriculture, forest farm. And I usually do 10 by 10, because that's what I normally do with most everything. But I think I'm going to try and go a little bit bigger. This is pretty large. All the way down here is 37, and that doesn't divide very nice. And plus we have this storage yard right here. So I'm not sure. Oh, look, I can't even build it this big. I was thinking about doing like a 22 by 22, but that's not going to work. So let's go ahead and do a 15 by 15, and we can go all the way down with those. And I think let's lay them out, but I'm not going to be able to utilize all of these just yet. So we'll put them down, we'll pause them. We'll only worry about the one forest farm for now. So we'll get that built up. 225 clay is a lot. I think we have enough for that. We do, 342, but we don't really have the workers to work that super efficiently. So that's going to be a work in progress for sure. And would you look at this? Now we're in the red with food again, and we're still in the red with water. So how close are we? Kind of close, about 100 up away, even with all of these big wells and reservoirs. That's crazy. I feel like they tweaked that maybe a little bit too much. We may need to put in another well. So another thing that I noticed, it could be the distance of this reservoir, but the water produced in here is 208. 258 in this one, and this one is kind of invalid because it's newer. But so we'll call it 258 the reservoir is bringing in. And then let's go check out our well. 244. So it's still a little bit better, but it's supposed to be way better than the wells. So I'm kind of wondering what the scoop is with our reservoirs over here. They don't seem to be working that great, and for how many resources they take to build them versus the wells, I feel like they should be doing a little bit better. So we may have to put some more wells over in this area just to be closer, and because they seem to be working a little bit, well, not better, but comparable enough and cheaper than the reservoirs that they seem to be worth it over the reservoirs. We're going to keep working on this forest farm, get those clays in there. We have some clay that we got over here that is needed and some timber. I'm just going to keep chopping down trees, keep building, and we'll bring it back here in just a bit. We've got our forest farm up and running. We are a little ways out, of course, from getting any yield from it, but we are already at 55% ripeness with the trees there. So pretty soon we'll be able to harvest, which would be great. We completed our nursery, and I went to put the herb seeds in there, and we have no seeds available. So then I was like, but I swear we had coffee. And we do have coffee seeds, and I thought that was kind of peculiar. So apparently coffee is no longer valid in the nursery. So I put the grove in to see if we can find coffee here, and there it is. So that's awesome. We figure out where coffee goes. It's going to be in the grove or the orchard nowadays. So we're going to go ahead and get that started. I'm only going to put one worker. This is a very low priority on my list. I'm going to start it, I think, for some trade, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. We do have some immigrants here. We're gonna go ahead and grab those peeps up to 18. Now I am getting a couple people who are graduating the school, which is excellent. Super happy about that. Over here we have our water working. We have a little bit of wiggle room there. We're definitely gonna have to add in something else. I didn't add in any more wells or reservoirs, so it's all the same stuff as before. Something I did notice is, check it out right here, this boiler room that has stuff in it and a worker, people are walking right past it. So my thought was, my hope anyways, was that the workers would be able to go in here and warm up instead of going all the way back to their homes, as you can see that they're doing right now, to try and make their trip a little bit shorter. But apparently that's not a thing with the boiler room, so this is kind of useless. So I'm going to go ahead and take Abner out of there and designate this for demolition. So we'll get that removed, and we'll get one more worker back, of course. So now we're going to go ahead and fill in some holes here. So let's double check. We have all 6 farms with 4 people, so that's looking wonderful. Over here, I did put in another couple pastures. I was thinking about these ones that we have now, these huge ones, which they are fun, but they're kind of ridiculous. So what I'm thinking about doing is building another pasture. And since we have 67 geese in this one, I'm gonna just like move half of them over to the other pasture, and then we have a full pasture ready to go right away. Similarly, we could do that with the alpaca, so I might do that. But I did get buffalo again, and turkey are now available, of course, for a limited time until they walk away. So we gotta get these built up. Maybe I'll put one buffalo and I'll do a turkey, and then maybe I'll do this again on the other side and kind of work 10 by 20s instead of 20s by 20s. It's half the timber, of course, 200 instead of 400, which is much more manageable. So we're gonna probably do that a little bit more. So back up over here. Now we did do 3 people in here. I could do a 4th. So I'm very curious about the game's recommendation on these buildings here. So you can see we have the 3 green highlighted here. That's the recommended number of workers for the forest farm, which is very nice because before I was just kind of guessing. Like over here we have the extra one, and the extra one seems to be worth it over here in the fields. It's kind of a lot for farms in the early game. Even with that tech of farming efficiency completed, we're still using 4 people in the fields. I don't like it. That's a lot. It's a lot of workers to be dedicating to that. But our yield of food has been really great. So I guess it evens out. It works, I guess. But then over here, we have a couple more houses coming in. Since we had some more immigrants on the way, I wanted to put a few more in. We have about 10 vacancies left in our interim housing, so it was definitely time to put in a couple more homes. So we have 4 on the way. I did move the hunter's hut over here. Once this one's built up, I'm going to get rid of this one, and then we'll just have this one. That was my intent with further research institutes as well. But we're currently running with the 2, and I kind of like the speed and the pace of the 2. I think I'm going to leave them both up for now. But as soon as this one's ready, I'm going to get rid of this one. We could destroy it now, and then the resources would go back to this hunter's hut because we have that recycling tech learned. But I think I'm just going to hold off for now. We don't really need that going immediately. And we don't really have a whole lot of rocks super close by. I guess we could gather these ones. It is April, so we should have some time to grab them. We'll go ahead and grab this little bundle as well. 18 laborers, we should make quick work of those rocks. As you can see, we already got people running out there, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Over here, we probably want to put another worker in the boiler room to hopefully boost our health a little bit more. And it looks like our coffee are starting to grow, so that's excellent. Happy about that for sure. The next things we want to do, I'm thinking about maybe getting into, well, this is what I want to do really, is the refined fuels and the calcining kilns. Get that happening, and then we could start getting the bricks and the glass and more of these more advanced buildings. And then I do want to get into knitting and start doing some baskets. Maybe we'll do the weaving baskets and pocket expansion first, get the efficiencies up before we start a whole nother tier of industry. That might be the good idea to do instead of doing a whole new thing. So with our 2 points, let's go ahead and grab knitting. We'll get that started, and we'll be able to process some reeds into baskets. So we do have this area over here, which has since lost a lot of the workers. We had the thirst deaths a while ago, a couple years ago here, and I haven't been able to replace these workers. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. We have 2 in each of the sand pits, and then we have 2 in the reed fields. And with 8, I think we're going to go ahead and complete this other reed field and get that going as well. Since we're looking pretty good with food, I mean, we started at over 10,000 and now we're over 6,000. So we got to watch that a little bit closer. If we're starting to run low, we're going to have to put some more people in these other farms, make some more oats, or we could do chilies, but oats are just more yield per grid. Or, oh, I guess we do have our pasture ready to go. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's start with, yeah, let's go with buffalo in there. That leather is going to be good. We are getting the alpaca wool from our alpaca, but another resource won't hurt, so we'll go ahead and do that. And then I am going to activate this pasture as well. And then I think I'll do that splitting thing that I mentioned a little bit ago. Forest fire, we got this before. Let's go ahead and cut down the surrounding trees, confirm, get some leather. Yep, 422 leather. That's great. We'll be able to use that to make some more clothing. Speaking of which, we should check on that. So we dealt with that a couple of episodes ago, but we haven't looked at it for a while. So it looks like we're doing okay with rough clothes. We're about plus 10. And let's look at tools here. And yeah, plus 4. So we got to really watch our iron tools. we're still in the green for now, so it's something we want to keep our eyes on. We don't really have any new immigrants on the timeline, so with our 8 laborers, we just gotta do our best with those guys. And we'll probably continue to harvest some timber and things around as we've been doing. I'm probably gonna watch our forest farms here. Ooh, look at that timber yield. 669 timber yield. That's super nice. I'm probably going to, in between episodes here, get this forest farm activated. And once we get some more clay coming in from our sand pits that we just turned back on, then we'll be able to build that and be really looking good for our timber finally. Really happy about it. Timber is such a headache in the beginning of this game. It'd be really nice to have it checked off our list. And I think that's going to be it for this episode of Settlement Survival. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you on the next one. Have a fantastic and amazing rest of your evening, day, or night, and have a great Friday.